Waleed, I saw your video. I'm very impressed. The way that the way that you travel to Newcastle is totally different than me.
Yes, this is my easy way. That's why I go to Newcastle much often.
That's great.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مساء الخير جميعا، أهلا بكم في هذه الحلقة الخاصة مع أحد أشهر المشجعين الإنجليز لنادي نيوكاسل يونايتد. طبعا I hope I'm saying this name is right. John here.
John O'Hare.
جون أوهير.
O'Hare.
طبعا المشجع جون أوهير مشجع الآن يعيش في أمريكا. طبعا هو مشجع لنادي نيوكاسل ويذهب لنيوكاسل كثيرا. كثير تداولنا مقاطع ومقابلات لجون عبر سكاي في تويتر في وسائل التواصل. فقررنا انه يعني خلينا نحاول انه نستضيف سيد جون يعطينا مشاركة اللحظات، مشاركة الأخبار، نشوف إذا عندنا أسئلة نسألها لجون، إذا هو عنده أسئلة يسألنا. أحيانا يكون في نوع من يعني ممكن أحيانا تسأل أسئلة مثلا لشخص في مهمة رسمية في عمل رسمي، يصير الأجوبة تكون يعني فيها نوع من الحذر. لكن الآن راح نسأل، نبغى راح يعطينا إياها بال straight forward على طول. Welcome lads and lasses to Newcastle show, Newcastle with الوليد podcast, and we have John O'Hare, the famous John O'Hare with us. Welcome, John.
Thanks for having me. Waleed, I see you as much as anybody when I'm in Newcastle, so it's a surprise that you don't live there and I don't live there.
Yes, so this is what it's about. We unite around Newcastle.
That's right. That's right.
John, so I always open with this question. So, what do you like to share with Saudi fans about you? They want to know more about you because you have fans here. They always send your pictures and videos, especially your videos and funny interview in our WhatsApp group.
Oh, well, I'm honored to be on with you and the people of Saudi Arabia. That's great because I like connecting with fans from all over the world, and I meet them when I go there. I met some people from Holland. I met some people from Norway. I met some people from, I think Thailand was there. I mean, there's just people from all over the world are, now showing their pride in Newcastle. And I got interested when I was young. My father was actually born there in Newcastle before his family migrated to the United States. So of course that was, where he came from, where my grandparents came from. So it's kind of family related. But there were many years where we could not get, broadcasts here in the States when I was growing up in the 70s or the 80s. And so I couldn't see them. But I did I got a kit because my mother and father went back to Newcastle to visit in the 80s. And they brought home a kit for me and for my brother. So that was, I would wear that and nobody knew what it was. It was like, what is that? But yeah, I had a real interest in the city of Newcastle because of my family history. But any sports, I like to follow sports. So they were my team, And I did not get to go over until the kids had graduated college and I have 3 kids and they graduated college, and my wife and I went to England to visit one of her friends. And at the end of that trip, I said, we're gonna add a couple days and just go up to Newcastle. I just got to see it, So we went. We saw St. James Park. We met some nice people, but the team was. I think it was in July, so the team wasn't there. They weren't ready to play games or anything. I went to the team shop, but the new jersey wasn't out. The new kit was not out yet. So I always had an interest. And then as soon as the takeover happened, I've been spending money right and left to go to games, and I've had the best time. Uh, I was there right after the takeover, the first game. We lost that game to Tottenham, but it was so fun. It was just everybody was in a great mood because now we have a new owner, an owner who's going to take care of the team and show some love to the fans like you and I. So it's been great.
It reminded me that game against Tottenham. It was really. It's very rare that you lose, but you are happy. It's weird feeling, mixed feelings. You didn't care
Which
about the
one?
results that time. The first game after the takeover.
Oh, I felt good because I thought we were going to be on the right path. And the other thing was, I said, Tottenham is a strong team. We're playing them with the same guys we've always had. I don't know what we can do, but in the first 2 minutes, Callum Wilson scored a goal, and and it was great. I
And
mean, uh,
John, we get revenge. I think we win after that game we went 3 times against Tottenham.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, Tottenham doesn't look so scary anymore, right?
Yes,
Um, we still have to worry about Man City, but we even tied them early in the year this year. So times have certainly changed, and it's been terrific.
John. Before we go into Newcastle this season, uh, tell us more, if you can, about your childhood in Newcastle. Did you born in Newcastle or?
No, my father was born there, and then his family moved to the States shortly thereafter. He was only 3 or 4 years old. So it's mostly my grandmother and grandfather that are from there. Um, and they grew up in New York City because a lot of people, when they migrate to back long, long ago, when they migrate to the U.S., they would come in through New York, and they would typically have not much money, so they would settle there somewhere and try and find a job. Um, but no, I grew up here in the States, and I'm a big baseball fan because I grew up here, so I follow baseball quite a lot. But Newcastle was always my team. Like I said, that's that family connection, and my brother's a big Newcastle fan too, and ever since the takeover, everybody in my extended family, my brothers, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, they all watch the matches too. I've given them jerseys. They watch, and it's a family thing.
What's your first moment you remember, or first memory about Newcastle, John?
Well, probably because we could not see we could not see games on TV when I was a young lad. So it was I would see little clips of different things that happened there, like Kevin Keegan or Alan Shearer later. So some of the stars, you would see, and I guess the best memories is seeing the crowd. They always have good support, and they're always back in the old days. You'd see the crowd, and they were mostly standing, so there were lots of people packed in there, and the way they supported the club, that's the thing I remember. Just really good, strong support through thick and thin. You know.
Brilliant, John. Let's talk a bit about this season. Summary of the season. Did you enjoy, John?
This particular year, I thought what I really liked was I thought we would be maybe between 6 and 10, in the table, because we finished really good last year. I think we finished 11th at the end of the year, and we could have been top 10 even last year the way we were playing. It seems like we get a couple of bad breaks here and there, um, but um, but we finished pretty strong last year, having faced relegation. All of a sudden, we're up in the top 10, and then we finished 11th, I think, on the last game. Um, but then this year, to be up there in the top 3, 4, 5 has been fantastic, and to see the turnaround of the players And I was telling somebody when I was in Newcastle, the best thing, if you can't win a cup, the best thing is watching your team march up the table. And this year we went much higher than I thought we would, and that's been the best thing, is just seeing how our loyal support has been rewarded, this year with just such hard play, um, good training. The lads are all in good shape, um, and we wear other teams down. We really work hard and wear them down.
When
So,
we, sorry, when you feel that going to Champions League is possible, what time in the season? Which
oh,
game?
not until I guess maybe six weeks ago, somewhere in there. I thought, if we just keep, but I was worried about the Brighton game. I was really worried
Yes.
about that because Brighton is playing really good, and I had tickets to the Brighton match. So I said, "Man, this is going to be a big game." And then they switched the dates for the Brighton match and the Leicester City match because there wasn't much season left, and they had to fit all these games in. And so when they switched those games around, some people turned their tickets back in, and that's when I was able to get tickets. I just happened to be online at the right time and get some tickets. I bought two, but my wife said that she wasn't going to go this time. I've been taking her over, and we're getting old. It's hard to get over there, and it takes a day and a half to kind of get used to. I'm in a totally different time zone. So this time I called up a friend from California and another friend from Connecticut, and I brought them to the games, and they dropped everything and just flew to be there. And we had a great time. I'd never met the couple from California before, but I knew them through Twitter, and we were just fast friends. We had a great time. Dan Devlin from Monterey, California. He's a big supporter of the local team out there, but he's also a diehard Newcastle fan because he and his wife went to a Newcastle match for their honeymoon, and that was like 21 years ago, and they were treated royally by the people of Newcastle and the club when they found out that these people had traveled there, 20 years ago, just to watch a match and see Newcastle. So they got treated really well, and they were happy to go back. And then another gentleman, um, Jamie Malone from Connecticut, he came to the last match, the Leicester City match, with me, and he's originally from Newcastle, and he is a coach of a under 13 team in the United States, and his team is called Newcastle, and his team played really well this year and won the state championship in Connecticut. So he couldn't wait to leave the championship game, run to his car, drive to Kennedy Airport in New York, fly all the way to Newcastle, watch the match with me, and then like 12 hours later, he's on a plane going back to New York. So that's how dedicated these people are. And I knew that if my wife did not want to go, they would come in a minute. So we had a great time, and I wish we could have got a goal. I'm sure if you watch the Leicester City game, it's like, oh, we had so many chances. I just wanted to see that crowd go wild one more time. But after we tied, they did. The whole crowd was really excited about the fact that we made Champions League with that 1-point tie, the 1-point draw.
I
So
had I had palpitation with that save from Nick Pope last 5 minutes.
you had a 5-minute
Palpitation when the Leicester missed that shot against Nick Pope. The save Nick Pope did last
Oh
minutes.
my gosh, yeah, towards the end. Oh my gosh. I think we both went
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we almost lost that.
I was very, very, very afraid that time, really.
Yeah, Nick, he really came through because, most of the game he didn't have to do a thing. So
Yeah,
when all of a sudden they get a chance, it's hard to. That quick. He did a great job.
exactly. That's why he great
Yeah.
goalkeeper. Lucky we have him. Uh, we reached I think the beyond expectation in the Premier League. But what about Carabao? And later we'll talk about FA Cup. So Carabao, the final. Also, do you think it's beyond expectation as well? Regardless, we lose the final.
Yeah, that was I tell people I was actually in the UK because the week before I went to the Liverpool match and we were going to stay. We made these reservations so long ago. We were going to stay and watch the Brighton match. But the Brighton match got moved because we were in the final of the Carabao Cup. So we were still in the UK. We went down to London to watch, from a bar. And I never had more fun. It was just as much fun as being at a Newcastle game because there were so many Geordies there. There was like 100,000 people. A lot of people like me, they just came into London with their jerseys, with their kits, just to watch the match on TV. They just wanted to be a part of it. So, yeah, you could tell that we were all shocked of the expectation. We were so happy and so happy to be in London with all the other Geordies. Yeah, I never expected them to get to the cup final, but once they did, I was like everyone else. I thought, we can play with these guys. I think we might give them a hard game, and I don't know. I think we were just a little too shell shocked or tired or something. We didn't quite get there, but it was wonderful, the wonderful experience, and I'll never forget all the fans at the end. They picked up their flags again and they were waving them. They were proud of their team, and you've got to give it to Newcastle. They have the best supporters. We're losing 2-0. There's only 2 minutes left, and they're waving the flags again and just showing their pride in the team and how far they've come. Yeah, the Carabao Cup was I didn't expect it. It was great. In fact, I thought we're not going to make Champions League this year. That was our top moment. And they surprised me. They came through again, and we got top four.
So top four in the Premier League, final in the Carabao. This is good achievement, great achievement.
Oh yeah,
But the price was going early in the FA Cup.
yeah. We're going to face that same thing next year because we're going to be FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Champions League, Premier League. We're going to have so many games, so it's going to be tough. We need a strong bench. We need to give people rest and to get other players in, so that we can keep up with a season like that. We're going to have a long season, but we're all looking forward to it. I know that.
Your expectation, minimum expectation now, if after this season, what's going to be your minimal expectation?
Well, I'm not real hard on teams. I'm just so emotionally in love with the team. I want them to do their best. Um, but if they could win, maybe they could win the FA Cup. Maybe they could win Carabao Cup next year and compete strongly in the Champions League, just like we compete strongly in the Premier League now. That would be good. If we got one cup victory and we did pretty well again next year and we're up in the table, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. These things don't happen overnight, so I'd be happy.
Brilliant, John. Before the time gets take us, I promise the fans to ask their question they sent me earlier yesterday, and since the announcement, uh, our friend Khalid, he want me to ask you خالد البحير. He want to know what do you know about Saudi Arabia before the takeover and after the takeover?
What did I know about Saudi Arabia? Well, um, historically, the U.S. has had a relationship with the Saudi government and been a um, in the Middle East. They are one of our um, allies. Um, so, I mean, I knew of Saudi Arabia. I've never been to the Middle East. Um, I get like I know about the PIF and the takeover and the live golf, is a big thing now. Um, I can speak from my experience with the ownership of Newcastle United and the Saudi connection that and I think I speak for a lot of fans. Um, we are like very excited. We are very happy with the ownership and what they've done. It's hard for me to imagine an owner from anywhere in the world coming in and doing the things that they've done. Just brilliant. I mean, they've been very smart about the way they've handled Newcastle City, the fans, the way they brought in the right people to run the club. Um, and they've been very gracious with all of us. So I didn't know too much about Saudi Arabia, just historical, political things. And of course, when you get into that kind of thing, you can critique any country. There's some things that are not right in my own country. And I choose that through sport is how we make things better. Joining together with people like yourself and looking past some of the things that bother us about whether it be your country or my country. So I know we've historically had an alliance with Saudi Arabia. I know through the PIF that things are wonderful in Newcastle. So I'm just a big fan, and I love talking to people from everywhere. Um,
Have you talked to a few about sorry, have you meet Saudi fans and have a chat with them?
have I talked to
Saudi
who?
fans, Saudi fans,
Other fans?
Saudi
Saudi? I
fans.
spoke. There was somebody from Saudi Arabia at the last match who wanted an interview with me, and I talked to him for a few minutes. I forget his name. I could probably dig up his picture on my phone and send it to you. You may know
I think maybe he's Khalid. I think his name is Khalid. I'm not really
how
sure.
it
I
could
think
be.
I
He
think
was
because
he was with a gentleman from Algiers, I think.
no, maybe I'm mistaken.
Yeah. So
So
he was doing the microphone and the camera, and I was talking to the other gentleman from Saudi Arabia.
brilliant, John. Have you do you have some question to the Saudi fans? Or
Well, I'm surprised like how many what got them started in Newcastle. Were they just happy to that their country has an ownership group that owns Newcastle, and now they've probably been big Premier League fans already, right? Um, because I imagine you can watch games from Premier League, but it's probably like here in the United States. It's just at strange times, you know. We have to wake up very early and watch the games at like 6:30 in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know what it is there. It might be late for you.
it's really disturbing this time. Today I message you that sorry, John, I will be late 10 minutes. But I delete the question. I delete the text right away because I Google Oklahoma time and I noticed that I was mistaken about the time. It's different. So in Premier League, I think we are maybe luckier than you because usually the early games possible is 2:30 p.m. and maybe the latest is going to be like Carabao Cup, the latest
10
about
p.m.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
The latest, but usually it's around 5 to 7
Yeah.
usually. So yeah, not like early morning.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, sure.
for you, yeah, I guess were there a lot of fans that followed Newcastle before the ownership group took over, or were most Premier League fans in Saudi Arabia happy that they now had a team they could root for, in the Premier League?
It's this and that.
Yeah.
Some fans support Newcastle since long time, and of course a lot. They are fan. We are fan here in Premier League, and maybe you will get this. Maybe I think you will get this. Uh, in Champions League, we support other teams,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this is not maybe wrong in Newcastle. But here, it's okay to support Liverpool or City. Like for me, I'm supporting the City in the against Inter Milan. But this
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I don't. I must hate Manchester City because I'm a Newcastle fan. This is
Mhm.
different.
Yeah.
And of course, after the takeover or before the takeover, when the BIF in Saudi Arabia went to be share Newcastle club, a lot of fans now increasing day by day. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit this and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of fans here in the US, but they are like Liverpool
Uh,
or Manchester United or Man City. Because when people start watching, we call it soccer. When they watch soccer or English football in the States, the big teams are on a lot. So the people that are watching from the States, they choose one of those teams to root for. But for me, I couldn't do that. Um, During COVID, I was sitting at home watching my team like struggle every week, under Steve Bruce, and I didn't think they would rise this fast. In fact, those days you're always worried about we're going to drop out of the league, and then I can't watch them anymore. It'll be like the 60s or 70s or 80s. I cannot watch the team because they'll be in the championship league instead of the Premier League. And so I was just hoping, that they would stay.
here, Stapleton says, I watched the Leeds game at New Year in Hong Kong, the first half in 22 and the second half in 23. Mind blowing.
That's great.
You said, John, that you didn't visit Saudi. Are you planning to visit soon? This is also from Khalid.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
You didn't visit Saudi. Are you planning to visit Saudi soon?
Well, I got interested um, because they go there for training camp. So I thought, whoa, that would be a way to go to a match and see a new country. My family likes to travel. We travel to Europe a lot, and my son travels to South America, and my other son goes to Asia. But I've always been just more the U.S. and Canada and the U.K. and a little bit of Europe. But yeah, that would be interesting. Uh, Now this summer, um, Newcastle's coming here, so I don't have to worry. I'm going to go to 3 matches here: uh,
Atlanta.
Atlanta, Philadelphia, and New Jersey. Really, really kind of close to New York. So I'm going to go to all 3 of those. So there goes more of my money. I won't be able to. I won't be able to go too many more places this year. But yeah, I was intrigued. I saw Adam Pearson, who does a lot of these type of um, video about Newcastle. He went to Saudi Arabia and watched the team, and that would
Yeah,
be
I met him. I met him when he came here, and we have a good time.
yeah, good. Yeah, he said he was going to be over here, so I may run into him, and especially in Atlanta.
Do you You said something about spending money, and this is one of the stories that the fans here in Saudi like that video when you said something about you losing your money and it will be not left more for your kids.
Yeah.
What was this? What was
Well, luckily my kids are all doing good. They're like age 30, 36, 38. They're all grown. They're working on their own, and they have their own careers now. So yeah, I might
uh,
uh, I might spend all the money.
yeah, but if you like Newcastle this much, have you think to go back and live in Newcastle, or this is hard?
Yeah, I actually have. I looked into getting an apartment and living over there for part time, and it would be a lot of fun. I have some friends there, and I visit with Davy Craig a lot. Uh,
Yeah,
every t-
Davy.
every time I go over, I visit with him,
Uh,
and so I still might do it. As you get older, you go. There's only so much time left. Maybe I've got it. There's Davy right there
yeah.
with his wife Sarah, and yeah, we'll always go to see them. Davy collects for the food bank, and I always contribute to the food bank because um, you know that's where we all came from, is humble beginnings. People that are needy, you help them out along the way. So
Umar want to hear either or maybe both of the special story about Newcastle or funny weird story.
funny, funny story about Newcastle.
Uh, funny maybe a situation. Um, something happened. Some humor about it.
Uh, well,
What comes to mind?
well, I tell you, on this last trip, I walked into a bar and
Okay.
I just wanted to get a beer and just visit with people if they said hi or something. And a guy recognized me, and I'm always surprised when people recognize me. But and if they do, I ask him, is it okay if I take your picture? Because I'll put it up on Twitter. If you saw me on Twitter, then we'll put the both of us up on Twitter. And this guy says, yeah, okay. So he says, I can't believe I'm meeting with you because my best friend follows you and he's not here this weekend. He's the one that's a big football fan, and he follows you, and he would love to meet you someday. And I said, "Well, where is he?" And he said, "Well, he's traveling in Korea right now." And I said, "Well, then let's play a little video for him." And so I put the guy's picture up on the internet, and I said, "Hey, me and Rob here are in Newcastle. Where are you? I heard you're in Korea." "Oh, you missed out. Rob and I are having a great time. We're having a beer. It's been fun. So maybe next time we'll see you later." And I never know how that worked out, but I think the guy, he probably watched it on from Korea and went, "What? This guy's using my
Hilarious.
he's using my name. He knows I'm in Korea. What is going on?" So I mean, just fun stuff like that. Yeah,
Really is
silly.
hilarious. No, not silly. It's hilarious, really.
It's silly stuff. I like it.
Yes, for that's funny. But any special story? He want to know special story
Um, I just
regarding
have
Newcastle, maybe.
um, I just have a great time every time I go there. I happen to bump into people. I mean, I was walking right outside the stadium probably the day before the game, and I just bumped into Darren Eels, um, and I had a good chat with him. He's another person that was hired by the ownership. There he is, right there. And I was surprised. I said, "Can I take a picture?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And I think maybe he even grabbed the camera and took the picture, just like just like Murdad did when I met him. Um, but then he talked to me for 2 or 3 minutes, and I said, "I'm really glad you guys are coming to Atlanta, and maybe I'll see you there." And so I mean, they're just wonderful people, and they're running the organization the way any sports fan would love for them to run the organization. Just, caring about every little detail. So it's been fun.
Yeah, this is great pictures, and I have I have a special section for the picture in a few minutes. Abdulaziz just sent me a message. He said, "I was surprised by the fact that there are a lot of Georges fans in America, which is very good thing. But based on the fact that basketball is the most famous sport in the States, there is also a team Newcastle called Newcastle Eagles
Yep.
Basketball Club. Is there also huge numerous fan of this team?"
No, I don't think a lot of people know that about the Eagles. Now, because it's a family thing, it's for my family, it's all about Newcastle. So I knew about the Eagles. I've never seen a game. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is from my friend Junjo.
Yeah. So they also have a rugby team. Um, and they play north of town. Um, and yeah, so I know of those two teams. I have never been to one of their games. I would like to go. I'd like to see what it's like because basketball is everywhere here, and I'd just like to see, what the quality of the team is and what the makeup of the team. I think, in Europe you can only have like two American players on the team or something like that. There's some restriction, um, but yeah, I would like to. I would like to go sometime.
Regarding the fans, do you have you live in Oklahoma City or maybe Tulsa or
I live in Norman, Oklahoma.
Norman, Oklahoma?
Yeah, it's where the University of Oklahoma is, and we're about 17 miles from Oklahoma City, so we're very close to Oklahoma City. So when you talk about basketball, we used to go up and watch Oklahoma City Thunder, who for a number of years were really, really good. And then they lost Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden, some really good players in the NBA. But now they're building a good team again. It's like watching Newcastle. They're starting from scratch, and they're just getting better and better. And they actually made the playoffs this year. So my wife and I will go to a few games, um, and yeah, that's fun. And then the big thing here is Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma Sooners, the football team, which is American football, and they sell out the stadium here. It's 85,000 people. It's it's a big, big, big thing. So we go to those games too.
Do you have like supporter club for example, in Oklahoma for Newcastle? There is a huge fan base in Newcastle, in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, there's actually one guy that I know that lives down pretty close to me, and his grandfather was born in Newcastle. So my neighbor told me about him, and we got together, and I gave him some programs from the last two matches that I went to, and we had lunch, and he's traveling right now, but when he gets back, I'll give him some more things. But that's I don't know of too many people in Oklahoma, but I did go drive down to Texas. They have a club in Dallas, and my son lives in Dallas. So when I was visiting him, I went to see one of the matches I watched with them at the Londoner pub, and we watched the Newcastle game from there. And there was about 20 people there. It was nice. It's always fun to get together with other people that are wearing your kit, you know. But no, not in Oklahoma. I don't know. I mean, I guess what I need to do is put out something and say, I talked to a bar owner in town and I said, hey, if I can get a bunch of fans going, would you open the bar early so we can watch the match? And he said, yeah, I could do that. So but then I left and I went to Newcastle to watch games. So I'll have to start that next year. But so I don't even know if there's any out there besides this one gentleman that I talked to, Scott, who lives in my neighborhood, and we're gonna get together again.
I did the same, John. After the takeover, I tried to, but of course we didn't have bars here, but we have coffee
Hmm.
shops. So I start to do the same and ask the owners or the responsible managers, can we have the place, and can you please air the Newcastle game? Because here the problem is every coffee they have like one receiver. They watch one game. So usually Liverpool fans, Manchester fans,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are more. So it was very hard for us at the beginning of the takeover, not like now. So I remember I said to the owner, and they said they will make it you tweet about
yeah.
it, and he saw the reaction in this Twitter a lot. So he was expecting hundreds to come to the cafe. He was excited and he was welcoming me. And when the game came, only one person came.
Oh, see, that's what I worry about. I worry about that.
Sorry.
I think I would have to. I think I would have to tell them the first beer is on me, so come. And then people would be putting the shirt on, even though they don't follow the club. You know.
No, they like, there is a lot of supporter of Newcastle, but the problem is the traffic. A lot of fans like to watch it at home.
Right.
The time is not appropriate much usually.
Yeah.
So many obstacles. But
Yeah.
it was a very bad situation, and it happened with me not just once. It happened with me many times.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I I think I would try to advertise it and then try to get people to come. And if it didn't work out, I would let it go. But if it worked, the guys that I've talked to in Dallas and in Baltimore and a couple of other places that have good clubs.
Denver, Denver,
Denver has outstanding club, and San Diego is my favorite
San
because
Diego.
I
Yeah.
went I went out there with my wife and we watched the Man City game and we were winning 3-1 near the end, but then they came back and tied it up. But it was in August and we went to San Diego to watch that match. But we also got to go to the beach and just enjoy the weather. It's beautiful out there. And the guys who run it, there's a guy named Simon who started the club, I guess, and Shade. Um, Shade Hartline is the guy who is really a big Newcastle supporter, along with um, Richard Hawkins, I think is his name. Um, they have a podcast out in San Diego that's really good, and they talk to other U.S. fans. And they got me on a podcast one time. They got my friend Dan Devlin from California. They had him on a podcast. They had this lady from Philadelphia, Kayla, who actually has a season ticket to Newcastle because she bought it the year before the takeover, and or maybe it was the year of the takeover, right before right before the takeover. But there's some outstanding fans with outstanding connections and stories of Newcastle, and these guys in San Diego always bring out the good, just like you're doing, just like you, Al Walid. You bring out the history and the connection that people have with the club, and I love those guys in San Diego. They're doing good for the U.S. fans.
You
So
can start to do something in the Twitter maybe or in the social media to find Newcastle supporters in Oklahoma.
yeah, I could give it a shot. I could just ask and see if there's anybody here. Uh,
Hashtag Oklahoma or famous
yeah,
hashtags maybe. Or
Oklahoma Mags.
exactly. You can find easily 10 to 20, I believe. It's
Yeah.
not that brilliant.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is I'm 64 years old. I can't be every Sunday going out and drinking beer at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, so so
Oh yeah, I forget
I
that part.
I
Sorry.
kind of
Yeah.
I kind of like having my coffee at home, and then I prepare for, okay, this weekend we're going to go to San Diego and watch the match. So get ready.
Once a month. Once a month.
and then and then some other week I go to Newcastle and I'm ready for that, you know. But I can't do this every week.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm happy to sit in my pajamas
yeah.
and watch on TV and drink coffee.
Once a week, and you can pick the latest game.
Yeah. Yeah. The time I went to California, it was a late game, and thank goodness, because I walked in there, it was 8:30 in the morning, and Shade, first thing, what do you want to drink? And I said, well, I guess I'll have a Guinness. So, but later that day, I was taking a nap because I had a couple Guinness
uh,
and it was very early.
this is real. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant stuff, John.
Yeah.
John, last section uh, of the of the points here. I will show you some pictures, random pictures. I collect
Okay.
them from Twitter.
Okay.
And if you have comments, any comment that comes to your mind.
Okay.
All right. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, that was, I had really good tickets that match, and I was like 3 rows away from Murdad and, Amanda Stavely. And I happened to catch him, and I said, Would you mind, sir, if I could get a picture?" And he said, "Oh, sure." And I was fumbling around with my camera, and he took it and he said, "I'll take it." And he took the picture. Just a very gracious man, Murdad. Yeah.
Amazing. First time I saw. I have similar situation, but first time he saw me, we saw each other. He gave me a hug.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really, I was really, I was really shocked.
Yeah. He knows who you are.
Great moment. Great memories.
Okay, that is the club down in Dallas,
Oh,
and right under the symbol is my wife looking at her phone. I don't think she wanted to be in the picture, but I was taking a picture of the Toon Army in Dallas when I went to see them at the Londoner. Good bunch of people, and I saw some of them up in Baltimore because they had a national meetup at the end of April, and I went there for that. So yeah, that good club down there in Dallas.
all right. Second, next picture.
That, of course, is Trafalgar Square. The day before our match with in the Carabao Cup final, and I took those same pictures. I walked all around, people giving me beer, getting hugs from people, taking pictures with people. Uh, it was just, it was just so much fun because we had finally gotten to a big important game with the Newcastle team being wildly successful this year. That was just so much fun. It's the most fun I've had where I wasn't at a game. It was great.
Yes, I wish if I was there really.
Oh yeah, that was uh, that was me and my wife Sue. Uh, that was that might have been it was this year, and we got a good picture before the match. I just picked up a flag and somebody took a picture for us. And
Do you recall which match, which game against?
it was, let me see. It was not the Chelsea match because the Chelsea match, my two sons went to that game. So it might have been the Liverpool match.
The one before the final.
Yeah. 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 That's probably the last time she was there.
طبعا شباب أنا بس الأسئلة بسألها الآن بعد شوي لما بس أخلص من الصور فأسألوني الآن عشان يعني تقريبا بقينا ربع ساعة ونخلص البث. The question I will answer them later after the pictures.
Um, I think Jacob Murphy just scored in that one. I don't know.
It was coincidence. I thought by chance. Oh.
Yeah, that one. That's me at home watching a match on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning, and I tried to get the TV in the background, but and that's this year when I bumped into that's my most recent trip when I bumped into Darren. Great guy. He
Yeah,
he 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 used to work in Atlanta, and he's he came to Newcastle just like Almiron. Almiron used to play in Atlanta here in the States, and what he did for the Atlanta club, Darren Eales, was build a really good franchise there. They're very well supported, and Newcastle brought him to to Newcastle. So we're happy to have him. He's a great guy.
I hope you don't mind this picture, but I found it really funny, and I have to ask you a question after that.
Okay. Nah. Well, I ran into these two policemen, and I said, "Can I get a picture with you?" And they said, "Well, okay. You want the two of us?" And I said, "No, I want him to take the picture and you to arrest me." And they said, "Well, we don't do that very much," but they took the picture anyway. So, uh,
Do you mind? Which do you believe in horoscopes?
do I
Horoscope,
horoscope?
horoscope.
Uh, I don't follow it, but I was born in September, so I'm
A
Lib
Virgo,
Libra.
Libra. I see.
Libra.
No, the just the reason of the question that I feel that we have the same personality
Ah,
somehow
ah.
because because I did the same,
Did
but
you?
yes,
I didn't know that.
twice,
Ah.
twice in Newcastle and in Dubai.
Oh, great.
But
Yeah.
there is a reason for that, of course.
Yeah, some people are very fun spirited and they will do that for you, and other people are like, "Look, I got a job to do. I can't be bothered with, these pictures." But these guys were great. They
Yeah.
were good.
Yes, and I before the show I was trying to find the picture, but I lost it. I didn't know where it.
Ah,
Which maybe old phone or yeah, brilliant.
ah. Now this is interesting. The lady in the middle,
Yeah, I know her. She's in the strawberry. I always see her in the strawberry.
she was in a film about Newcastle. It's called We Are the Geordies. And when I saw her, when
Yeah.
I saw her, yeah, when I saw her at the ballpark, I pointed to her and she pointed at me and she went, "John." And I said, "I know you too." And so I called her up and I said, "Can I get a picture?" And I said, "I recognize you from We Are the Geordies. And I remember your line at the end. You said, 'We are mental and we are mad.'" And I said that to her and she laughed. But but I wanted her for a picture. And the other gentleman that's there is my friend Jamie from Connecticut that has the under 13 team. And he originally grew up in Newcastle and moved to the States. And yeah, he came all the way over just to go to that one match. And we got him a ticket and he had a great time. And we saw the draw with Leicester City. And then he flew right back home. Um, but yeah, that was a good picture before the match. We had a good time. Now these folks, okay, so there's Jamie on the left, and then there's a guy named Matt who works with the club, and that's me in the middle. And there's Shola. Shola, who used to play for Newcastle, is surrounded by um, Dan Devlin and Tara Devlin.
And look
And
to that beard. Look to that beard.
these are the two people that met Shola on their honeymoon 21 years ago, and so they wanted to see him again. And luckily, we just arrived at the right time, and they arranged something. So yeah, that was fun. That was the I forget which match that was. Might have been the Brighton match. Yeah, Yeah, that was the Brighton match. This guy spotted me. He was at the at Shearer's outside, and
see.
we started talking. I asked him if I could take a picture. He said, "Sure." He said, "Hey, man, it's good to see you." And I said, "Well, it's good to see you," because there's people that I follow back on Twitter, and I never get to meet them. But if they meet me, I always like to spend a few minutes with them. Nice lad, nice guy. Yeah, that's my son, and I have that picture right here. Um,
All right.
yeah.
Brilliant.
So I was really excited when I got him to go to a match with me because it's usually my wife and I. But he took some time off of work and met me up there. And I said, Dan, when you get to my age, his name is Dan, uh, and he just had a son. So now I'm a grandfather. Um, really happy about that. But um, I said, Dan, we only get moments in life. Life goes by so quick, and you have to make the most of it. So I'm just really happy that we could have this moment where you joined me for a Newcastle match. And he and his wife probably took the picture because they both went to a match with me. Um, they had been to games in London, but they'd never seen Newcastle play, and they said, "Wow, the the noise and the fans are so good there." And so he enjoyed that moment. It was very special for me, and so I like that picture. Yeah.
Brilliant, John. Some of life questions here. Abdullah asked a question. You already answered it, which I will explain to him. Do you expect that Newcastle will reach the fourth place? We speak about that. طبعا عبد الله سألنا هذا السؤال جون وقال انه كان يتوقع من السادس الى العاشر، لكن في مباراة برايتون حس انه نيوكاسل خلاص راح يضمن، او يعني اقترب جدا، او عفوا مش مباراة برايتون، من 6 اسابيع انه ضمن او اقترب جدا من تأهل لدوري الابطال. عبد العزيز بخاري asked how was the reaction in America after qualification to Champions League?
Well, with the people that follow Newcastle, it was big. It was very big. Yeah, all the clubs that I've talked to, everybody was so excited. I'm sure there are some very disappointed Liverpool fans that are here in the States, but that's okay. They've had their time at the top of the table, and they're still going to be tough. But no, the people that follow Newcastle in the U.S., oh, they're so excited, so happy, and so am I.
Thank you, Abdulaziz. Diba asked, where do you find Newcastle's next season? What's she gonna get to?
What do you think we will do next year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're going to be competitive, but we're going to be spread kind of thin with all the games that we have. So it's really going to take Eddie Howe's going to have to do a really good job next year because unless we build a really strong squad, we're going to have a lot more games. And the other thing is to remember the teams that lost to us this year, they're reloading for next year too. And they won't they will not take us lightly. So everybody's going to give us a good game next year. When you're the top dog, when you're one of the top teams, everybody comes after you. So it's not going to be easy next year, but I think I'll still be happy and I'll still be proud by the time the season's over.
We always do that, John. This is very. He said it's weird the question, but for me it's not weird. I think this is first time someone asked this kind of a question. He said, John, which player he will leave the latest, sorry, the latest, which latest player from pre-takeover squad to leave Newcastle.
Which player from pre-takeover to now?
To leave.
Oh,
The latest player.
which one do I think will leave soon?
No, the opposite.
Oh, which will we
The
get?
last. Which will leave the last.
Oh gosh.
From pre-takeover era.
Gosh. I don't know. I mean, because some of the guys we have are very young, so you never know if they will last for another 10 years. You know. I don't know.
Very hard.
I like
Very.
how Eddie's trying to keep a place for most of the people that are here, but we're going to lose 3 or 5 people this year because we need new players, and there's some players that aren't playing. You know, they're just on the bench or they're injured. But I couldn't tell you who's going to be the last to leave. I don't know. That's a hard question. Very good.
Yes, and the second part of it. Do you think Newcastle will win the Premier League with pre-takeover player?
It's going to be tough. I mean, everybody that I know wants us to pick up 3 to 5 more players, and then we will have a good squad. But yeah, we can win with Joe Willock. We can win with Joe Linton. We can win with Almiron when he's finely tuned and playing really well. We can win with Callum Wilson when he's not hurt. You know, so we have a good squad, and now our squad is in better shape than they were under the previous manager. So I think we can compete with those other teams. We do need a few. We need to upgrade in a few positions. So
brilliant, John. Your message to Saudi fans and where they can reach you.
My message is keep cheering for our team. I'm very happy that you're cheering for Newcastle. I think it's great that fans from all over the world have this love of an England club. And, you know, if I ever see you, say hello.
This was a pleasure, John. Thank you.
Thank you. وليد, always my friend. Thank you.
كنا معكم مع المشجع الشهير جون أوهير. طبعا حلقة جميلة جدا، تكلمنا فيها عن كثير من الأمور، وراح إن شاء الله راح نتكلم عنها بالعربي بشكل يعني ملخص للحلقة إن شاء الله في بثنا يمكن في التيك توك إن شاء الله بعد قليل. شكرا لكم للمتابعة، ونراكم إن شاء الله قريبا حلقة مع لي ريدر from the Chronicle very soon. شكرا لكم للمتابعة، تصبحون على خير.